A real whirlwind week. I mean, it really is the biggest twist of the window so far. It looked all set for Eze to head to Spurs. Everything was ready, was in place, and then Wednesday it all changed. I mean, firstly, how damaging do you think this is for Tottenham?
I mean, it's poor for Tottenham, to be honest. They had time. They had a few weeks to get this deal over the line. And I always come back to, I feel like Tottenham's been penny pinching. You know, trying to, maybe, I don't want to say cut corners, but not giving the player exactly what he wants. Players like Eze, you just have to go out there and say, you're my best player. I want you. This is what it's going to cost. Here you go, take it. And then Tottenham probably would have got him. But then a bigger club comes in. And now, Arsenal's obviously snapped up Eze, but it's poor business from Tottenham. And, obviously we're Arsenal fans, so it's like, it's happened to us with bigger clubs as well, with players that we wanted to sign. But now to see, obviously, Tottenham miss out is it's bad news for them and good for us.
Yeah, I mean, it's a massive, massive switch. Obviously, the Spurs fans so upset about it, and understandably so as well. But when you look at it, there was a lot of rumours, there was a lot of, people out there saying that at the beginning of the window, Arsenal had spoken to Eze and told him almost, look, we're going to come back in for you. As a player yourself, that you've been through different transfers in your time, is that a reality? Can you delay a transfer? Is that what Eze has done? Has he kind of almost led Spurs on a little bit?
I don't think he's led them on, but I think that, he supports Arsenal. Arsenal's his club. So obviously, if Arsenal has said, wait there, see what happens, then of course he would have considered it. But I think that because it's taken like the whole summer, there was an opportunity there for Tottenham to get this deal done.
Yeah.
And me personally, I wouldn't wait for a club, because you just never know what's going to happen. I would always say, if I was giving my son advice, for example, I would say, listen, you take the deal that's on the table. As long as that club suits your football ability and the way you play football, if it's there, take it.
Yeah, and do you think with this, obviously, Daniel Levy already under a lot of pressure, do you think this really adds to it with not long left of the window?
100%. Tottenham fans are going crazy. I got Tottenham fans calling me saying, I thought Eze was coming to us. Now they're going to Arsenal. But it's poor from Daniel Levy, and I don't know what goes on in the boardroom and whatnot. But you can't help but feel like Daniel Levy could have got this over the line. He's dragged these heels, and now you've lost one of the best players in the Premier League. Quillen, you smell good, man.
I was just going to say, you might have seen Clinton sneaking in there. Really quick.
I was running, so I was a bit sweaty.
Lovely to have you on the show, mate. Now, look, you joined us, obviously, top of it.
Yeah.
The chat about Eze, and we're talking about how damaging this is, not just for Spurs fans, obviously, but for Spurs as a club, seeing one of their main targets after James Maddison has an ACL injury. What do you make of it?
Well, you know what? James Maddison, what was it, about a month ago he had the ACL. It's Spurs' own fault. I've said it many a times. If you want to get the deal done, you've been talking to the chairman, Steve Parish, a lot. If you wanted the deal done, get the deal done. Arsenal lose Havertz, and the next day he's got a bad knee, the deal's done. So if you wanted it, get the deal done. I speak to the chairman all the time, and I knew Arsenal were interested, but never fully committed on Eze and never made a bid for him. But as soon as Havertz got an injury, they made the bid and they hit what the chairman wants. One thing I know with Steve Parish is Palace is not a big football club. So he will hold out for the best deal that he can get for Eze. He's a bright talent and is going to be fantastic. I think it's a hell of a signing for Arsenal. I think it takes Arsenal to a whole different level. But that's Tottenham. That's how it's going. And I know Tottenham fans won't be happy. I support Tottenham myself,
Yeah.
I try not to shout out from the
feel for
rooftop.
you.
Yeah,
but at the moment, I'm changing. I might just support Palace, and that might be it. Because I'm hurting after what's happened here. Yeah. So it's one of those things. That's what happens in football. But I heard Jay speaking about it. He got released at Arsenal when he's 13, and that hurt him big time. He supports Arsenal, so it was always going to be, if you had to choose between Arsenal and Tottenham, he was going to always go Arsenal.
But that's my point on it, about the whole decision of whether or not is this actually the Spurs hierarchy's fault, or is this a player that is holding out for that chance that something like this happens? Has he basically bet on the chance that something will happen? There might be a sale at Arsenal, or there might be an injury, and this situation has happened.
Maybe, but
I don't think
you don't think so, because
so.
If you look at what's happened to Havertz, I don't think Arsenal would have probably have come in for Eze, because it's a lot of money and they've already spent big. Tottenham knew what happened to Maddison, as I say, 3-4 weeks ago, and they've been negotiating. Get the deal done. I think it might have been, I don't know, don't quote me on this, but I bet the deal was something like 5 or 6 million. They missed out on him, and he would have been a top player. As I said, he improves any team, and I don't think it was a case of oh, we'll wait for Arsenal playing clever and say, let's just nick from our rival. I don't think it was
One thing
that.
I would say though as well, like obviously Tottenham's been talking about Savinho as well.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it was. Like, how do we get both? Can we get both?
Yeah.
Can we maybe get Eze for cheaper so we can get Savinho as well? Maybe that's what it was. But ultimately, they haven't got both right now. And again, Eze is like a game changer. He's unbelievable.
Well, let's be honest, you two are happy, no?
I'm buzzing. I'm buzzing.
Well, I'm impartial here.
Rome, come on. You don't have to be impartial.
No, look, of course. Like, as an Arsenal fan, of course, everyone wants.
course.
I think there wouldn't be a fan in the league that wouldn't want to see Eberechi Eze play for their team.
Yeah.
It is my honest thoughts.
No,
but I think as well, when you hear what Thomas Frank has said, he doesn't want a player that doesn't want to be there, etc. How do we really think that he feels? Because obviously you've had not just Eze missing out on that target. You had the whole Morgan Gibbs-White scenario earlier on in the season.
Right.
What do you think the manager is thinking at this point?
Yeah, he'll be disappointed. And I know what you're saying, Thomas Frank, but Eze did want to go to Tottenham because last week he did want to go to Tottenham. So he definitely wanted to go to a team that would be, I'm not saying they're going to be challenging for the Premier League, but they're in the Champions League.
They're not.
Exactly. But when Arsenal are challenging for the Champions League, so it's a different conversation. It's Arsenal and Tottenham at the moment. He's going to choose Arsenal, the team that he supports. It's hard for Tottenham at the moment because, as you said, Gibbs-White, they thought maybe that deal was going to get done, and they need a creative player to fill the void that's left by Maddison. So, yeah, it's hard, but they've got to get the right player, and they've got to get, as Thomas Frank said, the player that wants to go to the club. But knowing Eze, how I know Eze, he definitely would have wanted to go to that football club.
Rome, one thing I would say though, when you look at Tottenham's wages to turnover, it's like 42%. Like, they've got an amazing stadium. They've got one of the best training grounds in the country. Like, that in itself is a selling point. Why are you not spending more money to go out and get these players to make Tottenham compete? Now, I know being a player, and I'm sure you're the same, Clinton. When you see a stadium like Tottenham's, when you see training facilities like Tottenham's, you think, I like a bit of that. I want a bit of that. Yeah. And they're a big side still. They've got great support. And it's almost like Levy keeps on making these poor decisions, lose out on players, and then all it does is hinder the team at the end of the day. And it keeps happening all the time.
Yeah. I mean, it is one of the most fascinating sagas that we've seen so far, and we'll be talking plenty more about Eze later on.